All right, I don't know who needs this, but I got this vibe to do a certain type of tutorial. This is just going to be a little better explanation on doing origin points. So what we're going to do is just scale something up like this. And in order to get this correct, I'm going to be using the hotkey D for the hard surface toolbox mirror machine. If you don't have that, don't freak out, because you can go to edit, preferences, and my add-on turns on this add-on. Just comes with Blender. It's auto mirror. You can turn that on. Then let's see, under edit, yeah, here it is. Here's auto mirror, and you can just set to the y-axis, positive or negative, whichever side you want. It's like a symmetrize, and you can kind of follow along. So what I want to do is jump into edit mode, and I'm going to throw a loop cut in right about here. That looks good. And then I'm just going to mirror that over. And I haven't used this for a while, and you can't tell if it's actually mirroring unless you go in. Let's do something here. If you don't know this feature exists, then you need to know. So what I would do is I would turn on wireframe inspection, the auto smooth operator if I want it as well, but I think we're just going to be good. Yeah, I'll turn that on. I'm still using 4.0.2 today. So if I do that, now you'll see what it did. There's one more feature actually. We can dissolve the middle line, so we don't have that line anymore. It'll grab that middle line. This only works on flat models, so boom, there we go. That's the ticket right there. Now we want to go into face select. Just going to grab the top and the back here, and I want to actually shift D and then right click, drop that, P, separate by selection. I'm going to come back out and grab this thing, / when I / that, I actually forgot I was still in a / menu from my last tutorial, so that's fun. I just jump into edge. Let's grab this. Let's bring the cursor to selected, come back out, and because we've done what we did, the origin point is still in the center of where the original mesh object was, so we don't want that. What we actually want to do is go to object, and I'm going to set the origin to the 3D cursor, which is a lot cooler looking and gives us a kind of a decent looking result, if you will, to a point. Now I'm going to need this to look a little better because it's going to be all clipping out. It's not going to look good. So we're going to add a basic modifier. I'm just going to generate a solidify. So we can go ahead and throw our solidify on. We'll do even thickness, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to be into the negative just a touch. So we can do something like that. Might as well bring it up one. Okay, whatever. Just trying to get a nice even 0.050. Good. Now I'm going to apply that so that is real geo and I don't have to mess around with it. And now if I rotate this on the X, it's good, but if I just hit rotate, it's not going to work. So I'm going to grab the view area here. Let's see, item. I'm going to lock the rotation, and then I'm going to parent this by selecting this and then making the box active object, and I'm going to select this. So now if I move my box, the flap lid comes with it, and if I just go to rotate, this is going to be good. It's going to be able to rotate in that area. And now that looks pretty good. One of those things you could do is you could throw on a bevel. Now the hard surface toolbox actually has a bevel magic 5 built into it. So if you wanted to, I clicked my Discord. We don't want to go to my Discord. There we go. Let's close all that. So if you don't have this, it's kind of unfortunate, but all you have to do is throw a bevel modifier on, set it to a few segments, change the geometry if you want your corners to look really nice, from sharp to arc. For shading, I turn on the loop slide and the harden normals. You can do a few different things. I mark it as sharp. And the add-on does a ton of stuff behind the scenes, so I can actually upgrade all of this as it goes, which is really nice to be able to do that. And I can bring these up. And it's not too easy to see sometimes, maybe, but there you go. And I'll just hold shift and you can see how it changes all of the bevels at one time. This is just a fun thing I did. I got a couple things on the feedback. People seem to like that pretty good. I'll leave this to 4 segments. And then I think I want to make this bevel just look a little bit better. Something like that. And it's good. You can control all your bevels at one time. So now we've got this one piece. I could select the one piece here. And it's just going to rotate for us. And then there's a few other things you can do. I don't want to make this totally a tutorial about the hard surface toolbox or anything, but it's got a ton of features. So let me swing this cursor back to the origin. And you know, it's stubborn sometimes. It does not want to go back, but underneath the hard surface toolbox here, we're going to have a setting somewhere. There we go. Right here, if you hover your mouse over this, see, that's a transform. Here we go. I haven't used my add-on in a long time. Snap cursor, and this one's about to go back on the dev board. It's got a ton of features. I'm not sure what else I can even add to it right now, but we'll see what else we can do. And it snaps the cursor for you. So you don't have to like play around with it too much. It's super annoying. So anyways, fixes that problem. So one of those things we can do is we can bring in an array. And if I want to bring in something like a cylinder, I'm going to scale it down just a touch of Runa, then scale it down and then press D. And I will be able to make an array here. I can have a line array, I can have a grid, and I can do it with curves. And there's a few other options, but I'll just go ahead and make this array the way I want it. And over here, you'll have the ability to kind of change everything. And so what I want to do, I'm going to have to hide all this. It's in the way. There we go. Bring that up, unhide everything. I just want to kind of bury this in here and then make this, I want to make this a cutter. And let's see, we can realize instances, and I want to also shade it smooth. If you're still using Blender 4.0 or 4.02, you can still do that. Otherwise, you've got a few different options in 4.2. We won't discuss all of that here. And then once you've done that, obviously, you can just apply it. And I'll show you how to make an array as well. It's super easy. I'm just going to select this, Control- with Bool Tool enabled, and you'll get this set up. Now, if it comes in kind of funky, that's probably because of the bevel that is on here. And so if I switch back to this object, let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to bring the boolean up, and voila, looks wonderful. So now I've got a nice little cut right here, and I think we could just go ahead and apply it. It really doesn't matter. I'll go ahead and apply that. Control Z back. I applied the wrong thing. Let's apply that. So now when I go to rotate this, I don't have to like run through and parent everything. And I've got this cool boolean here, and if I wanted to, I could bring this particular cutter around and snap it right here. I'm just going to delete it because I'm done with it, but you can do that as well. However, if you do not have it, and let's see, OCP add-on has a new feature, by the way. It's a toggle the geonodes setup. So if I select something, I can now toggle a geometry nodes workspace, which is really cool. And what I can do is I can throw that cylinder back in, just kind of give you guys a little bit of an extra tutorial here. All right, this is the easiest way to do a very, very quick array. GeoNodes does this so smooth. So curve, grab a circle, whatever you want. And it's kind of cool because once you do this, you can draw your curve in. Just deleting the vertices will actually allow you to do that. And you'll have the draw pin available to you, which is pretty cool. So what you'll do is you'll throw a GeoNodes group on that. We'll throw in instances on points here. And then we can do a procedural setup where we have the cylinder. So we'll use a cylinder node and we can tag that in. Now it's going to look kind of crazy, but you have a lot of controls right here. So you better change the count. If you want to make it look more like an octagon or something, you can do that. We bring the radius down. We can resample this to give us a true count of 8. And then, like I said, we can bring the radius down so it makes sense. You can do something like that. you'll be able to change the depth, which is super cool and looks pretty good. And then if you don't want it to have any shading, you're in 4.0, you could do a set shade smooth and tick this off, and it will control it that way. Now this is a curve, so in order to apply this, so we need to convert this to a mesh, and that's going to be in the object menu. So all we have to do is go over here to object, come all the way down, go convert to a mesh, and now you've got a mesh object that you can actually use as a Boolean operator. Now you lose all your procedural capabilities, but that's one way you can do it. And then maybe we could turn on snap, go to face, align rotation to target. Now let's see, we just go ahead and move this and constrain it to the Z axis, G and Y. Whoop, turn off snap, G and Y just a touch, control minus on our object, and boom, now we've got another design right here, which looks pretty good. And if you wanted to, you could just rotate this up. Let's jump in here. Let's go into face select, and I can just hit X and delete those faces. And then this kind of means a little bit more at that point. Anyways, you could throw a light inside of this thing, make it look kind of good. Just going to throw a point light in, and I'll go over to cycles. I love cycles. Let's turn off scene world. I think we could turn on something like volumetrics. We'll do some volume. I'll do a volume scatter. Put this to 0.005, something like that. I want to grab my light. Put this to like maybe 2000. Make sure I'm on actual cycles to do this. And you got to kind of play around with the density in the world here. So maybe 0.05. There we go. Get some cool rays coming out of there. Maybe change the color to a nice different softer look, and grab my point light, and let's change the point light strength up a good bit more, something like that. And you don't have to do just the point light. You can definitely kind of modulate between the world density or the volume density in the world and then whatever else you got. That looks kind of cool. And then when you go to rotate this thing up, you'll have some extra lights coming out. Maybe you could animate that or have some fun with it. Anyways, tell me what you guys think in the comments. Just a very simple beginner style setup, just to kind of show you guys, get your feet wet doing some volumetrics and doing some booleans and different things.